Hello world, welcome to Ketrix channel. My name is Christian. Today we are going to talk about infrastructure as code. What is infrastructure as code and why do we need it? There are several tools today available for you to manage infrastructure as code. Amazon Web Services has CloudFormation. HashiCorp has Terraform. And there are other specific tools for serverless applications like serverless and SAM. So what is infrastructure as code? Infrastructure as code is the process of managing and provisioning computer resources through machine-readable definition files, rather than physical hardware configuration or interactive configuration tools. It's a way for you to describe your infrastructure using high-level configuration syntax. This allows you to treat your cloud infrastructure as you would do it with any other code. Let's suppose you have to deploy an application. In a traditional way, you would need to install its dependencies, set environmental variables, and make custom configurations. You could deploy your server using your cloud provider console, like Amazon Web Services console. There, you have everything you need. You just have to use the UI to create your resources. You will have to do a lot of clicks, add relationships, create IAM roles, keep track of everything you have created, because if you need to roll back, you don't want to let unused resources living in your account. And what happens when you have more than one application or more than one server? Using the console to configure each and every one of the servers may turn into serious troubles. If you don't install the right version of each software your application depends on, this might turn into a nightmare. Or when you have a more complex network to set up, with special rules and dependencies between applications and servers. In one of those scenarios, you may probably panic, but for your sake, Infrastructure as Code has the solution for you. Amazon has AWS CloudFormation, which provides a common language for you to describe and provision all the infrastructure and resources in your cloud environment. It allows you to model your entire infrastructure with either a text file or a programming language. Another commonly used tool is Terraform, which enables you to safely and predictably create, change, and improve your infrastructure. It is an open source tool that codifies APIs into declarative configuration files that can be shared amongst team members, treated as code, edited, reviewed, and versioned. In future videos, we are going to discuss a lot about serverless application. For those kind of applications, there are special tools like Serverless Framework and AWS SAM, which help you to deploy them, but also to provision the resources they require. Here you can see a simple example of what a CloudFormation template would be. It would provision an EC2 instance inside a security group, which will allow an SSH connection through the port 22. In this video, we are going to deploy an EC2 instance inside the VPC using AWS console. This will help you visualize what we will deploy in the next video using CloudFormation. In order for you to follow the next part, you will need to have your AWS account ready. First, we're going to sign in into our account with a root console user. Enter your user, your password, and your two-factor authentication. I strongly recommend you do this. We're going to create a user so we don't have to use a root console user. In order to create a user, go to the Identity and Access Management console. Go to the user sections. Click the Add User button. Give the username, and in this case, enable the programmatic and also the console access. This will allow us to connect through the console and also through the command line. Give the user a password, and since we have given the user a password, we are not requiring the password reset. Attach the administrator access policy so we can manage our resources with this user. Create a user, then you will be given the access key and your secret access key. Save these keys in a safe place. Now we are going to create a VPC to isolate our EC2 instance from other resources. Go to Services, type VPC, go to the VPC section, click the Create VPC button, give the VPC a name and a seeder block, and then we have our VPC ready. Now we need to add an internet gateway so the VPC can connect to internet. Attach the gateway to the VPC and you are done. Now we are going to create a public subnet where we are going to put our EC2 instance. Associate the instance to the VPC and give it a seeder block. Now we are going to create a route table. Assign the route table to the VPC. And we are going to connect our route table with our internet gateway. We add a route so that all the traffic that goes to internet is going to go through our internet gateway. We also need to associate our subnet with this route. The final step in our network setup is to create a security group. This will work as our firewall. So give the security group a name, associate it with our VPC, and add a rule. In this case, we are going to add the SSH rule for us to connect through SSH. In the source field, you will be able to select anywhere. This will allow you to connect from any IP. But in this case, we are going to select my IP. This detects our current IP and will save it. Now we have everything ready to create our EC2 instance. Go to Services, click on EC2, go to Keeper, so you can create your own certificate to connect through SSH to your instance. This will allow you to download your SSH key. Please save it in a safe place. Go to Instances and click the Launch Instance button. We are going to select the free tier options. We are going to assign our EC2 instance to our network and the subnet we have created. We are going to allow it to auto-assign a public IP so we can connect to it. We are going to leave the rest of the parameters as default. Go to the next page. Where is the storage? We are not going to make any change here. Go to the tags. Nothing changed. But in the security group page, we are going to select the security group we already created. Now we are going to launch it and we are going to select the key pair that we just created. The creation of an instance may take some minutes, so we're going to go fast. Once the instance is ready, we're going to connect to it with the public IP assigned. Go to the folder where you have your SSH key, the one we just saved. Add your key to your session and connect through SSH to your instance with the EC2 user, which is the default one. Now we have our instance ready to receive instructions. As you can see, there are many steps involved in the creation of an EC2 instance, especially if you want to isolate that instance from other resources you might have in your account. Imagine you need to deploy more servers. So many manual steps might produce some errors. So this is where infrastructure as code come to help us. In this video, we have seen how to provision our resources using AWS console. In the next video, we are going to create a CloudFormation template to provision a similar network. If you have any question, please leave it in the comments section and I will try to answer as soon as possible. Thank you for watching and I hope to see you next time.